My guest today is Gavin Forbes. Gavin, thank you for being on the podcast.
Very welcome.
You asked a question earlier, like why do you want me on the podcast? So this goes back to, I believe, the Seivert wedding. Were you at the Seivert wedding, Katie and Nick?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was that one. I don't know who else it would have been.
I kind of had a feeling.
Did you really?
That's like one of the only times we've had like a really good long conversation.
Right.
So.
Okay. So we're at this wedding, and this, I don't know, 2 years ago or something like that,
Right.
probably. And I just remember I talked to you and I talked to your wife Ashley, and it was just a great conversation. And I left that conversation thinking like, wow, you should hang out with that guy more.
Oh, right.
You know, it was just like that's like a quality. You know, at least what I picked up, and we've known each other for quite a few years.
You probably didn't know me, but I knew you. Like,
you'd be surprised.
when I was really young.
Same church, same school.
That's true. That's
stuff
true.
like that. So
Yeah.
I mean, we've definitely been around each other quite a bit. So honestly, this is almost a follow-up of like some investigation of
Fair enough.
why was I drawn to you? Why was I, what was there for me? Because I think intuition is deep. Personal interest is deep to where it's like that stuff doesn't lie to you, you know, it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
So, and I know you, and like I was saying earlier, you know, you're guest number 3. So I wanted people who could be patient with me as I set all this stuff up and not expect, $1,000 cameras kind of thing. So, great starter guest. I really do appreciate you.
Yeah. No problem.
Getting together and, making it happen. So, Gavin, thank you. What does your life look like right now?
So I can jump right into it.
Jump in.
I'm selling cars. That's really about all I do. Day to day, of course. Sell cars. So hey, if you're looking for a car, I want to make this advertisement. But hey, find me on Facebook. I don't have Instagram or X or any of that. So.
Okay, there's the plug. No more after that. Yeah. We got a car guy with us.
Yeah. The car sales is definitely done.
I'll let you have that one.
But aside from that, I got married a year ago, so that's pretty awesome. We are trying to have babies. That's like
wow.
something that just we've made an effort at. Essentially,
that's a bombshell. That's an exclusive
right
for the
here,
show.
Man. But yeah, that's we've been together for almost 6 years now, I believe it is, and married for a little over 1. But having kids, I'm 26. I'll eventually be, getting up there. So thought. Now's a decent time to start. So
now's a decent time.
I'm scared as can be, though. I will say that.
Are you enjoying your job?
Yeah, it's fun. It's got its ups and downs. It's it's work. That's kind of how work goes. Just good and bad. And
right now, you have obligations. Of course, you have a wife, and you got to pay rent and everything else.
Yeah.
With a kid, that kind of changes things.
Yeah, no
it's
kidding.
A little tougher to jump after that.
Yeah. That's true. And then, being in sales, obviously it's, stressful already from time to time. So yeah, that's part of being scared to have a kid for sure.
Well,
I'm sure they're expensive.
I doubt people are lying when they say kids are expensive.
Right.
That's usually what you hear from most folks. You say that the only thing you do is sell cars, but yet your Snapchat leads me to believe other things.
Yeah, so I'm going to shout out Corday, one of my favorite artists, actually. Kind of hip-hop-ish, but really good lyrics. He says something about social media. Just, everybody tries to put on some face, and me included. Yeah, I probably look like a rock star on Snapchat. But yeah, he said a picture paints 1,000 words, a video paints 1,000,000, but it's all just, you're putting all this stuff out there. Everybody's a rock star on social media. But yeah, I do some other stuff. So
I wasn't going to claim rock star status for you. I just,
well, hey, I will.
It seems like, hey, if you self-proclaimed rock star, that's
right,
fine.
That's it.
you haven't died internally the way others at your age do. And I think that's one thing. You still have interests. You might not be a professional guitar player, but you still pick up the guitar.
Yeah.
You still find enjoyment out of it. I'm sure it's still challenging in its own ways.
Yes, it's so interesting. With me, I try a lot of new things, and like the bass, I've never touched a bass before. And I'm sure you've seen skating on there too. I don't know if you've seen that.
We'll get there. Yeah, I did.
That is something that I didn't like. I never did when I was younger. So like, and I think it's just more of like challenge. I really enjoy a challenge.
Skating is a huge challenge, especially starting later than
Oh,
childhood.
yes.
It's like learning a new language
it's crazy.
in your adulthood.
Yeah, because these, as a child, you're like, completely everything's, mentally you can learn things a lot better. So, and what
do you think that is? Do you think that's just like the time that a child has to commit, or do you think it's their brain is like primed?
And this is, I don't have much education, but this is some education that I do have. I took a psychology class from Mayfield.
Nice. Shout out Mayfield.
Yeah, shout out Mayfield. And when you're younger, you're just your brain, and then you're in that state, it just constantly learning and taking things in, and can maybe process how to learn from them a little quicker than you can when you're older. So
I see. I've heard the argument of like, oh, it's not harder to learn as an adult. It's just as a kid, you weren't thinking about bills and job and relationship.
Probably part of it is like you have a lot more things on your mind. And they're trying to do is just figure out what's going on.
They can go full investment into whatever it is because they're a kid. They don't have to worry about where their next meal's coming from.
Right, exactly.
They have gas in their car, like that.
Exactly.
But also, of course, I would think brain chemistry has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, scientifically, I guess. But
so you picked up a skateboard just cause?
It's interesting. My buddy Ethan Naps, shout out Ethan. He just one day, we were working at Sam's Club together actually, and he just one day was like, let's go ride a longboard. And he had 2 longboards. He had one for himself, and I took another guy. And yeah, we just rode longboards for a couple hours at night. I fell in love. I thought it was the most fun thing. I guess I never really did any board sports before that, but like sledding, I would try to like go on. I just always thought that would be really fun. I always wanted to snowboard. Yeah,
snowboarding,
which I've never done. Still haven't. So. Oh, I'm really upset about that, honestly. I need to soon. But, he's like, let's go longboard. And then for a couple hours, I fell in love, borrowed his board for a really, really long time, a couple months. And he's like, hey, like, let me have my board back. Get your own board, essentially. And so I did from one of his friends. And then I just, for a really long time, I would just get on longboard and cruise. And I always tried to do, like, some trick stuff, like slide it around and
longboards though. That's like the cruiser of the skateboards.
Yeah, for sure. But you can take it to an extreme. Like a lot of people like downhill, like bombing hills, and that's what he liked to do was bomb hills on them. And I like pretty much drift a skateboard is like kind of what I really enjoy. I do all kinds of other skating, but like that's what I really like to do is downhill skateboard. Sketchy high speeds, but also put it sideways and like come to a complete stop from like sliding it sideways. And I wear like gloves.
That's like sketchy as hell.
It's awesome, man.
If you hit a rock, if you hit a pebble,
it is. So what's different about that? I think it's like road rash. That's gonna be your injuries in that one. Road rash. You're not gonna like break anything.
So it's gonna tear your skin off your body.
Yeah, and just that is just tolerance at that point. Like,
all right, that's just the toughness factor,
right? And I don't know, man, it's just something about wind in your face, flying down a hill, kind of sketchy. You're fearing for your life a little bit, but also like really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's almost like a is the juice worth the squeeze kind of thing. Like,
for sure.
If you don't mind the occasional bruises or cuts or whatever, you get that much more enjoyment out of it.
And luckily, I'm starting to get pretty good now. Yeah. Where like I don't get quite as many scrapes and bruises, even though I've started skateboarding more so now
than longboarding.
But, you know, and I do have some bruises right now from that, and I would have wore shorts otherwise because I got cuts all over my knees right now.
You can't show the camera any bruises on you.
Well, it's not that it's the Band-Aids. They're like colorful Band-Aids, and I'm like, I'm not rocking colorful Band-Aids.
Not the look you're going for. That's funny. You just ratted on yourself.
Uh-huh.
It almost makes it like more enjoyable because it's like a high cost. If you mess up,
for sure,
it's not going to be good. But if you nail it, it's just like,
and you're done. It
like
feels
you
great.
conquered it or something.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So what about the guitar?
So yeah, the bass I just picked up. It's been almost a year, I think.
You didn't do any of this as a kid?
Never.
No music.
Never played an instrument. Never did choir. I never had I had music like that you have like normally like in elementary school, you know, you have music and stuff, but I never took any sort of musical class. Like in high school, like no choir, no band, none of that. So I still can't like read like sheet music, you know, like, but most musicians, seems like good musicians don't really, you know, it's not really it's not, music is more of a feeling than you know, a technical, and I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but
I feel like most would agree with you.
It's all feel. It's not so much it has to be, you know, perfect and precise, which, you know, some of that stuff is pretty cool when they're right on, but it's all feel.
Hey.
You know, and I was actually watching a video recently. Victor Wooten was talking about bass, and he was just like, you know, I can play this crazy stuff, it's, you know, it's clean, it's pretty crazy, but then if I play like, you know, just a basic little tune, it was just like, you know, now you feel that.
Oh, interesting.
So, and that's I get to there from reading music, but I've picked it up for church actually. On Common Life, we started going there in March last year, I believe. So it's been a year since we went there, and I've always wanted to play an instrument. Always, my parents never played instruments. None of my family ever played any instruments, so I just never was around it. But I've always, you know, I think being a rock star would be cool, or playing in a band or something like that. I love being in front of people, honestly, and speaking or performing or doing stuff like that. But yeah, my buddy plays in a metal band, Bill Cottrell. Shout out, Bill. He plays in a metal band. He plays bass, and I don't know. I've messed with his bass, I guess, a couple times at his house, and then I went to the church, and they started playing music. They don't have a bass player, so I was like, "Oh, perfect! Like, gives me a reason to start."
Literally a gift from God.
Yes. Hey, bingo! That's awesome. But yeah, I noticed they have a bass player, and I immediately was like, you know, Matea Cup, she is their lead of the worship team there.
Okay.
So I messaged her and I was like, hey, like, I noticed you have a bass player there. Like, I'd like to try and learn. And
I was gonna say,
I'm like, yeah, obviously I don't know anything about it.
You're going in with nothing.
Yes.
And you just say, I want to play the bass.
And I remember going to the first like few rehearsals or whatever, and I am just like, what is going on? Like, I'm just trying to figure out how to, you know, get my fingers to work. And it was very overwhelming the first few times. I just pretty much watched and, you know, didn't learn anything.
But you were up there playing?
No.
Or this was during practice?
I was just watching them practice and kind of like trying to, I brought my bass. I was trying to like follow along a little bit, but it was not working.
Hey.
And then this kid, really good friend of mine now, which is crazy. He's 15 years old, but he's a really good friend of mine. He just messaged me out of the blue and was like, hey, like, how are you feeling on this? Like, do you understand what this is and everything? And then
talking about the bass,
talking about how, because they do chord charts. I don't know if you know what a chord chart is, but it's like all the lyrics, and then like in any spot where the chord changes, it's like, hey, you play like an A here,
okay,
or whatever. So it's really just like at the beginning, I was just like looking at the sheet and like pretty much just playing like whole notes every time there was, you know, a chord change. And that's kind of how I did it for a really long time. But he taught me that, and he's a really good drummer. He plays bass, plays guitar, does it all. But he kind of taught me how to get started, and then I really enjoy playing. Like if I pick it up, like I won't put it down for like, at least an hour probably.
That's how you see him. You put it on your Snapchat, but it seems like he's probably been there an hour already.
Oh, yeah.
And he's probably got another 2 hours
Anytime I'm
to
putting
go.
those videos out, I have already been playing that for an hour at least, and most of the time I'm playing songs people know. I mean, I just kind of make up bass lines sometimes, just sitting there, but
that surely comes with skill, because you can't just pick up a bass and then start doing, or any instrument for that matter, and then start riffing.
I mean, I think you could, but I don't think you'd understand, because like it's always the simple stuff that sounds the best. So just hitting like, maybe like 3 notes just in a good rhythm, and it just comes out good. And it doesn't take much to do that. So especially on a bass, because like you don't have to do crazy stuff. You're the bass line, so like you just got to make something that it's more feel. You're not a lead instrument, so you're not trying to like catch attention so much. You're just trying to like, and looking back at like after I started playing bass, I realized all these songs that I like have really good bass lines, because it's just like, that's the underlying thing that's kind of tying everything together.
So you were called the bass, not necessarily just guitar.
Man,
it was the bass that
that's
called
awesome.
you.
Maybe, and I think that's a good. Wow, that's interesting. Because I've always kind of been, at least self-proclaimed, and by other people, I guess, like a glue person. Like, try to bring stuff together in basketball. I'm like a role player. My family, like if they're ever like, not getting along, I would straight up call like both parties out. I'm like, hey, you're acting ridiculous. You're acting ridiculous. Like,
you're the moderator.
Yeah, that's interesting. The bass did call me then.
Do you think everybody has this feel of music?
Oh, absolutely not. I think most people could, but, and I'm saying this like I'm some musician, like I'm a very beginner musician, but I know some people are just like too robotic, and just like the feeling doesn't, quite come out, and they can't keep the same rhythm, and I don't even know, like I'm not great at keeping rhythm myself, but like,
but you feel it.
And especially when I try, like, I guess you don't really try, but like, I guess you would try to just more feel it than to like focus heavy on it. Like I can tell a difference in playing, like when it's feel and when it's me just like focusing and being robotic, like I said.
Almost like going through the motions versus feeling and
trying to make it too mathematical, where it's all just, has to be right here. And
so what do you think those robotic people, where do you think they would excel if not music then?
Oh man, there's
accounting.
A lot of things I feel like, accounting,
something like that
for sure. But there's a lot of things for someone who's like more information driven and less like emotional.
Or like artistically, how could a robotic person express themselves? This is just your opinion. I'm not saying you have the answer. I'm just curious of what your opinion might be.
Artistically,
I think they
robotic. Could do music, but it would probably be a different. I mean, and there could be a different style of music to it. Like
that's true.
But man,
doesn't have to be even an answer.
I don't know about artistically, because that's part of like being like analytical versus being like artistic. Is just like you just some of that stuff, like painting or something, which I'm not an artist, but like
painting might be a good one.
Just can't like do that, and I can't paint. But,
but do you think most people have an artistic output?
I don't.
Or maybe should.
I think everybody's unique in their own way. So like, and maybe 50% of people are artistic, and 50% are more analytic and robotic. But there's nothing wrong with that, That's sometimes a safer way to live. You're not bombing hills and going 40 down on a skateboard.
But are you sacrificing your life satisfaction? I mean, it depends.
Maybe they get satisfaction out of different things.
Right. If
I'm not like that, so like I can't speak too much on that. But I like to get out there and try things and do crazy things sometimes too. So
I'm not a huge music head, but I know what you mean with like the feel, because there are certain songs. It's really hit and miss for me. It's either like it hits me at the core, or it doesn't even.
Yeah, and that's interesting because there is somebody out there who like really feels that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that really feels that song that
crazy.
I don't feel at all.
Crazy that, that how everybody has a different like opinion on things. Honestly.
That's why I love it, man. That's why I love. Like I truly believe like I'm not going to have a bad guest. If it's a bad podcast, that's going to be on me.
Right, because everybody's, some people might not be quite as open, but it's part of your job.
Right. Then it's on me to try to pull that out, or on them to say I don't want a podcast because I have nothing to really say or whatever. Which I think most people would say I don't have anything to say, and it's like, well, ask a question, and then all of a sudden.
Well, that's what, like when you were asking me about my life, and like I was pretty positive I could get, some stuff out and really talk about it. But like at the same time, like, am I that interesting? Like, did I, but there's so many things you can talk about.
There's so many things.
Because, I mean, you've experienced a whole lifetime. So,
exactly. You got 26 years under
no matter
your
how
belt.
you did it, like you did something like.
Which leads me to, I knew of you, I mean, probably, I'm 30, so we're pretty close in age, but enough gap. I mean, a whole high school, different, 4 years or whatever. Enough of a gap that we didn't like hang out or anything when you were younger.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about your childhood, and I feel like so much of who people are is from their childhood.
Yeah.
So how was your childhood?
It was great, man. I had an awesome childhood. I got a great family, fantastic family, like as good a family as you can ask for sure. As far as my sister, who's a year older than me, my parents. They're so awesome. Like they're great parents, they're great family, great people. So I honestly had a great upbringing, great childhood, and that's why I thought maybe this podcast, like I don't have anything dark or anything to like reveal about myself, but like it was great. It was awesome. I went to Riverton, I've lived in Riverton pretty much my whole life. I was born in Rogers. But, like, I was 2 years old when we moved to this area, which, my dad graduated from Riverton. So, like, they're originally from the area. My grandpa gave them some land to build in Riverton.
Really?
Yeah. So, they built a house there, and I grew up in the same house for, 2 years old till when I was, like, 18, and then even moving back there a couple times,
Yeah.
But, nice, beautiful house, a lot of yard to play in. My family liked, my dad, he's really similar to me, likes to just, enjoy himself, so there's always be people over hanging out. We'd throw 4th of July parties, like, so, there was a lot of people that would come to my house, and it was a great time, man. I really enjoyed growing up. I really enjoyed, high school, and, maybe had a couple years in middle school when you're kind of, everything's weird, and, people are mean sometimes, and like, you don't know how to handle it. But, that was probably the roughest time of my childhood, is when I was like maybe 10 to 12. But, I mean, it wasn't that bad.
Could have been a lot worse.
Just a bunch of idiots, like dumb teenage kids, So.
You're very personable. Does that come from your, like, youth and your dad having friends over?
I think so.
And kind of seeing the example?
He's a really personable guy, too. But, man, I just enjoy others, too, like, a lot. Like, I enjoy making friends. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy just being social. So, I would say it came from my dad and my mom. She's a friendly person. Not quite as outgoing as my dad, but I would say maybe that's it. Just always being around people, either people my age, older, whatever it was. And I don't know. I guess so. This is like the first time I knew about you. Was, I guess I probably knew you, but it was you were playing football in high school, and I was a ball boy. I don't know if you remember
Nice.
this. I don't know if you remember this. You probably don't. You probably didn't know it was me.
To be honest, I don't remember.
Me and Dalton Weaver.
Okay.
Which Weavers are like that whole family like was at my house all the time, and that's, you know, especially Dalton, like we're day ones, and you know, it doesn't matter, like we could not see each other for years and you see each other and it's just like, you know, immediate, like we link for sure.
You gotta love those homies.
Yeah, for sure. But we were ball boys for your football team, and that's, you know, really the first. You had some long hair, curly hair. It was awesome.
Sure
Rock
did.
star-esque, man.
I hope I was good to you.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're great. Absolutely.
Good.
Most of you guys were. It was a fun football team. What a fun team.
Ball boy. So was that like I wasn't a senior, surely.
I know. You were, so it was,
Freshman,
I was there
sophomore.
with, when you had Spring Kates.
God, it had to be my freshman year then, because that's when the Goldilocks long hair was there.
Yeah. Is your brother older?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so I obviously remember him. And
He's
then
3.5 years older, so
Okay.
he was my senior when I was a freshman.
Okay.
So he might have been on that team.
He was.
Yeah.
Because I think I was probably ball boy before you got there too. But probably you just having a brother on the team probably made it even more so like, hey, I know who that is, you know, because
right.
I kind of knew the guys because I'd been on the, you know, I'd been there for a couple years, and that was, man, what a rock star football team, man.
Well, that's
They
a
were
cool
good.
feeling as a kid too, when you know the older guys and
right.
they'll fist bump
Right.
you on the way to the
and
locker
you know,
room or
I'm
whatever.
going to the games.
Yeah, you're
and,
on
like,
the sideline.
I'm on the.
Brenton off.
Oh yeah, and he was such a, you know, he was electric, man.
Dude,
My
total
gosh,
beast.
he was electric.
That team was loaded. Matt Tyree,
yeah.
Brad, Darby.
And then yeah, you'll talk about all the speedsters, but it's, you know, the guys up front too were good. Caleb Clark.
I think it was either that year or my sophomore year that the
Chase
O-line,
Williams.
the O-line averaged like
Barnaby.
280 or something.
Yes, they were huge.
They were so
They
big.
were massive.
It was
Oh, I'm trying to remember. There was the other really, and Fry was there too.
Fry, which of course is the strongest human alive.
Oh my gosh, dude. I've seen Fry when we were hanging out. I think he was out of school like a year or two, but we went to the fitness center over there in Everton.
Oh God.
And he goes and like just tries to dunk, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is a freak, man. Like, I didn't realize he was that athletic.
He's
like,
insane. No,
wow.
I mean, like even now, he's just a year older than me. And to watch him just walk into the weight room and lift weights like they're just paper or something, it almost like breaks your mind. Like,
Yeah.
there's supposed to be a little bit of struggle, right?
Yeah,
And he
I do. I think I remember like seeing him lift or something. Maybe
He's
it was
insane.
a video or something, but like, yeah.
And it goes away, and that goes back to, you're kind of at the age where, at least from my perspective, when I was your age, it's like the shift is going to begin to happen to where people get really comfortable and really boring and start consuming what society has to offer as far as pleasures and comforts. And that's a road to hell. In my opinion, I think life needs to have struggle, but you're picking up a bass guitar at, you know, whatever age you are, you're getting on the skateboard. So it's just cool to see that you have not let that fire die, because it's really hard to get that fire stoked
we were talking
back
about
up.
psychology a little bit, and like how would your brain when you're younger is like learning. I still think my brain is in a state of wanting to learn, and I really hope when I get even older, I will still be interested in trying new things and learning new things, because man, I really enjoy trying something new, and especially the challenge. We talked about the challenge a little bit, but like, especially when you're new at something, like, and you can see so much progression. There's just so much satisfaction in that progression, I feel like. So I just really enjoy the challenge. And I like, it's so funny, like games on my phone. Like if I ever try a game and I'm not good at it, it's just like really like, I will almost play it until I'm, you know, good at the game or whatever. So like just when I get the challenge of the bass or skateboarding, like I want to push myself, you know, like I want to be good at it, you know. So
I think there's two types of people. There's a type of people who get a little resistance and they drop it, and they're like, "Not for me. I suck at it." And it's like everybody sucks at it when they first start.
Yeah,
you know?
nobody was good in the
beginning. But then there's some tenacity people out there like yourself who's like,
it
is a challenge. And
it's almost like to me though, and I think I'm like a jack of all trades more than like an expert in anything, because I've never really took anything to like maybe expertise level, maybe some sports, maybe basketball. It's probably the most expertise I have in anything, but I'm 5'11", 200 pounds. Like, I'm not built like a basketball player. I think if I was super athletic and you know, I probably could have put some more time in, but like I think basketball would have worked out for me just because I mastered basketball, and you know, I can play basketball. Weird, I can't shoot that good.
Oh,
but it was partially because I played with some absolute ballers. Like,
you won state, didn't you?
No, we didn't win.
You went?
I won in another sport, but we went in basketball twice, and we had some really successful years. Even when I was on the bench my freshman year, like we were really good, and then my sophomore year we were pretty good. Won the conference. We won the conference my freshman year too. Won the conference my junior year, went to state, and then did not win the conference my senior year, and went to state. But yeah, it was fun, man. We had a really good basketball team. I played basketball with those guys since I was like, you know, really, really young, and that's like my dad loved basketball, so that was kind of. And I watched a lot of college basketball mostly, but played basketball since I was like 6 years old till high school, and it stopped. Which, man, I love college sports. I think high school sports. I think everybody should do it.
Nothing better.
But man, it sucks because it stuff really doesn't matter that much.
It does.
It matters to you because like you learn some good things in sports, but like
you learn a lot.
After that, it's like, man, like I can hardly take any of this anywhere. You know, like
skill wise or whatever.
Unless you like get to that next level, which it happens, but very rarely can you make like a career out of this thing you spent so much time doing, you know, when you were younger.
Does that diminish the reward for you if it's not like a sanctioned league? Like if you go intramural or, you know, Joplin Y or whatever?
No, and I can enjoy myself playing like pickup basketball at the Y or whatever. But it's not like, you know, playing with these dudes I play with every day, you know, the brotherhood aspect of it. It's not the same.
Isn't that what makes high school sports so special?
Yes.
That's why we talk of it so fondly.
Man. Oh man, it's so
the camaraderie.
Good,
it teaches you how to win, how to lose.
I really loved sports in high school. And I loved high school. I had a great high school life. But sports in high school were huge. Sports all the way growing up were huge.
Yeah.
I really played everything: basketball, football, baseball, from like, you know, really young all the way through. And I knew as soon as I got into this, it'd be a really long conversation. I'm going to pee.
You want to jump in? I'd love for you to jump in. It's for the duration of a pee. You got this. This is Ashley, Gavin's wife.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so thankful that you are having me in your home this evening.
Of course. We sped cleaned during our
lunch. Sped cleaned.
Yeah, because it was pretty dirty.
Hopefully not for my sake, but I'm sure the cameras, whatever the cameras are getting.
Yeah, it was for your sake.
Great backdrop.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Our wedding photo and his base.
I don't know if this is a secret by any means, but he did drop a bombshell to open the podcast. Something about trying to conceive actively.
Yeah, actively we're trying for children.
How's that going?
It's going.
Are you having fun with it? I mean, it's supposed to be a good time.
Yes, we are having fun with it, yeah.
Some people like get in their heads and like make it a challenge. It's like, no, it's supposed to be a process.
I'm trying not to do that because I know it can really consume you and kind of make you depressed because it says it takes about a year to conceive for our age.
Wow.
Group. Yeah.
And sometimes it's like one night
and they get pregnant, but like it seems like if you're actually trying it just doesn't happen.
So maybe that's the key. Maybe when you don't want one, you try.
Yeah. We don't want one.
There you go.
We don't actually want a child.
We do this because we like to do this.
I try. Yeah. At first I was kind of like looking up like what could help us conceive. What should I do? What I shouldn't do. And then I'm like, I need to just relax, chill out, have fun with it. And if it happens, it happens. I mean, I will say we started last month and I did cry a little when the pregnancy test wasn't positive. Yeah. And I was like, I told myself I wasn't going to get like this, but here I am. But yeah.
That's good. It means a lot to you.
It does. It really does. for a long time, I went back and forth like, oh, I want a baby. Oh, no, I don't want a baby. Oh, I do. Just the baby fever was very back and forth. But lately, the last few months, I'm like, I want a family.
Yeah.
I want a baby with my husband. I want to be able to take our children on these family trips that we go to with his family every year. We go to Colorado like every year, and his sister has 3 kids, and the youngest one will be 3. I mean, I can't keep up.
Don't ask him.
Yeah, I can't keep up. But either way, he's still pretty young, and I've noticed anytime we go out on vacation or doing anything, I'm like, I wish we'd bring our baby. Like, I see other children, I'm like, I want our child to be here. We don't even have kids. Yeah. But one day it'll happen. When the time is right.
Absolutely. That'll make it even more special when it does happen.
Well, I feel like we're like almost like letting our family down almost.
Oh,
like,
my God. Why? How?
Not so much like in a super like negative way, but like as in like my parents, especially my dad, like he wants us to have kids, you know? And every year we don't have a child is another year that they don't get to see me have a child and experience my child's life and like
have a Christmas with the kid.
And that sounds crazy, but like
yeah, just watch them grow. And, I mean, they won't live forever.
Man,
as sad as that sounds,
I still feel like a kid. Like, so I don't think I should be having kids at all. But like, you know, man, I need to. Maybe I won't feel like such a kid if I have a child too. So
I have learned when a woman hits 30. She can have more complications in pregnancy.
Absolutely.
And that's also what kind of scares me is I don't want to have to deal with those types of complications. I'm young right now. Like, we'll be 27 next month. I mean, when is it going to be a good time?
I think you're very fortunate to have the opportunity to decide if you want kids, when you want
not
kids.
Just sprung up
Right.
on us.
yeah, we're definitely disciplined as far as, you know, like I think
trying.
I kind of heard some of this conversation. It's like
Discipline.
some people
is a
just
new way
have,
to put it.
you know, they're like, they have kids, they're not trying to, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, it's nice to be at a point where we're like, okay, let's actually have to try kids, not just sprung upon you. You know, you have to, you know, kind of make decisions on the fly, even though that's what it always feels like.
Planning it just feels a lot better.
That's a whole different animal, is planning it.
Instead of just being surprised with a baby.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I feel like every baby is truly planned. The parent might not be surprised, but...
Are you talking God?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're a blessing.
So then why are you crying and worrying about it? That's what faith is for.
Yeah, I know. See, that's the human in me. That's the human in me. The human in me sits there and worries. My flesh worries, but I have to die to self. I have to constantly remind myself that I am not the one in control and I need to give that over to him. I can't constantly hold on to that because the tighter I hold on to it, the more it's going to hurt.
There's only so much you can do.
Yes, and...
Sounds like...
Control what you can control.
He is very right. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I try to worry about the things that I can control, but it can be very hard to let go of the things that I can't control.
Have you ever heard of Gabor Mate?
No.
I'll send you him. He does a lot of it's like almost preconception stress that can go from mother to baby, and how his mom was pregnant with him in a war-torn country, and how he dealt with that in adulthood.
Oh, wow.
From something he doesn't even remember. He was pulled out of there like whatever, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So don't stress yourself out.
Yeah, I need to work on that now because I'll be stressing more than I probably should. But it's only our 2nd month.
There you go. You're just starting.
Yeah, we're literally just starting. Yeah. They said if you haven't conceived after a year, then you should probably go see a doctor.
That's when you can start.
Then you can start worrying about it. Yeah.
Well, sounds like you guys know the operation, how things...
I may have been doing a lot of research.
She figured out positions and what is...
So it actually doesn't matter what position.
Okay.
Yeah.
She knows that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what position. A lot of women, a myth because I myself thought it was true. You know, you put your legs up afterwards, and it doesn't matter as long as it's like in there.
Sure.
It's in there.
Yeah.
The sperm.
This is an adult podcast. It's okay.
Yeah, an adult podcast.
Well, that's neat.
All right.
Thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome.
You're welcome to sit in and talk as much as you'd like.
Pop your head in like I did.
I mean, I think you guys can just share that mic if you want.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know where we left off.
We were talking about high school sports, and that's why I wanted to go, because there's so much I can talk about.
Okay, we'll get back to it. Does anything in your childhood stick out? Like any experiences or memories, good or bad?
And it probably is still the sports, honestly. It's
Yeah.
just like, because my dad coached me in basketball.
Okay, that's huge.
So, yeah, all the way through, like, you know, I'm with him. My family's going to all these tournaments. That's really the thing that sticks out. It's probably basketball. Like, and I played all the sports, and I don't even know if basketball was my favorite. I love basketball, but, like, man, basketball was so big to me. And when I was growing up, brought the family together. We got to travel, you know, with my team. My dad coached me, you know, so, like, that's really one thing that stands out to me the most. And she kind of brought up family loves to travel. So it's really just going out of town with my family is really what I remember the most out of my childhood. Is just spending time with my family, going on trips, playing basketball. My parents or my grandparents own a cabin down in like on Big Sugar. It's like in the middle of nowhere. I think
Is that a
like
creek?
Pineville-ish. Yeah, it's a creek. Super clear, beautiful, like looks like drinking water. Like, and they got a cabin like in this private area. Only homeowners can like be there, you know. Super awesome place. Right on the water. Deck hangs out like over the water. Beautiful.
That sounds amazing.
You know, so, and that's just like, we still abuse it pretty much. But I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Nobody,
right.
It's like a house, like, you know, full house. Like you got, you know, your refrigerator, you got a fake fireplace. It's real cool. But one thing that stinks down there, rarely do you have any service. But that's part of the awesomeness.
That's
of
the
it.
beauty.
Yeah, for sure. But like, if you live down there, it would kind of suck. But like, going down there, that's like, and it's funny, I'll bring friends down there and they're like so worried. I'm like, dude, that's part of but that's the best part is you don't have cell phone service. Like,
It sucks like the first hour when you're checking your phone and nothing's coming through or nothing's
Yeah.
going out, you know.
I'm so used to it.
All of a sudden
like,
you just leave it at the
when I go
house
down there,
and
yeah.
you go to the creek or whatever.
oh
and
man, and that's the thing on most of like the vacations and stuff. Like, and now Ashley and I go on trips and I still go with my family, but like my phone's usually dead the entire time. Like I don't even care. You know, and that's when it's best, when you just avoid the phones, man. Phones kind of suck. But yeah, traveling around with the family, spending time with family, 4th of July parties, you know, that's really what I remember most from my childhood. And I think it has a big reason with how, like, I'm a pretty happy guy. Like, you know, some people went through the darkest stuff, like, and I don't know how they, you know, turn out normal, you know? Like, I really don't, because, like, and it seems like everybody should just have like this happy family, you know, but that's obviously not real. But I kind of lived that, you know, really. I had the awesome family, and, you know, we struggled a little bit, you know, but it never was like really, you know, too bad. I never had to like, you know, worry about being fed or, you know, my parents splitting up, and, you know, that I may have jumped up a couple times, but like it was never like, you know, they're going to split up or anything like that. That never happened, you know, so pretty awesome experience growing up. You know, and then my sister, a year older, Kelsa, awesome. And my brother is 10 years younger than me. So kind of raised him a little bit.
Does he ever feel like the outcast for being so far?
He's a rock star in his mind, especially.
All right.
He isn't, you know, I think he's a rock star, and he is, but like, man, he's the coolest cat.
He's playing
For sure.
basketball right now, isn't he?
Yeah, well, they just lost,
Ah.
but he just went to state tournament, which is really cool too. My dad went to play in Hutchinson, Kansas, when he was in high school. He's a sophomore. He went to state. I went my junior and senior year, and now my little brother has also went and played in Hutch. So all three of us have played, you know, in the same gym at the state tournament.
I think I saw a picture of it was like your dad in the north, and then you in the north,
Yeah,
And
because Landon and I went together, and then
it was like
Locke,
a generational thing. It was
Yeah.
actually really cool to look
yeah,
at.
Oh, super cool. And there was another cool post that came up today of. I'll have to show you. I don't know if I can show the camera, but I knew I was gonna pull my phone out and try to show pictures. But
Yeah, you good.
yeah, okay. Yeah, you might have to get a picture of that because that's good. So it's Landon North, me, and Dalton Weaver, and it's like 10 years apart.
That's wicked.
Winning when we were playing, travel ball, and then winning when we were in high school.
I like
at
wearing
Substate.
the ribbon as kids.
Yes, yeah.
And freaking hoisting the trophy as
In
young
the same
man.
order too. It's a really cool picture.
It is the same order. That's really strange.
Yeah, it is, and there's enough resemblance where you can tell it's the three of us. Really cool picture.
That's
man.
awesome. I don't remember you looking like that as a kid. I remember Dalton looking like that as a kid.
Yeah.
I don't remember you looking like that. I always remember, I guess, the curly hair.
Yeah, I went long when I was a little bit older, as you can see, but yeah, there's that one and there's that other one, and I'll probably send you that one too, so you can put it up. But Landon and I winning, and then Locke and Kale, my brother, winning, and we won in the same gym too, which is really cool too. We won our sub-state championship in the same gym.
The Riverton gym?
No, it was actually in Caney Valley, which is so random.
Of all places.
Yeah, it's so random, but yeah, that's where we won them.
That's pretty wicked.
And those two, my brother and Landon's brother, I mean, they followed us around watching us play basketball like ever since we were little too, So they've always been, friends, I guess, as they were growing up and stuff. So cool experience for them, I'm sure. Brother bleached his hair. It's pretty cool, dude. I told him it was so freaking cool. I think it is. He does some crazy. He did a perm one year. He did a mullet. Now he's got blonde hair. He's got a crazy hair. I always wanted crazy hair, but my mom was like, told me I couldn't get a perm when I was in high school. I would have set the trend of that mohawk perm thing.
Oh.
I wanted it before it was popular. I was like, I want the mohawk perm.
You would have beat Mahomes to it.
Yes.
Dude.
And then my Charlene, another Weaver, she was the one who cut my hair, and she's like, I wouldn't. And my mom's like, never, I wouldn't let you get a perm. I'm like, your hair's already curly. It's like, that's not exactly what I'm going for, So.
I think she cuts that whole school's hair. I think she does every child and probably faculty in there. She's a beast.
Yeah. So, yeah, just basketball, man. It was a good time, man. A really good time.
What are you best known for?
Oh, gosh. I would say my attitude, I guess. Maybe
really?
not so much my attitude, but like my
I was not expecting
positivity.
that. Okay.
I would think that's what I'm known for. I mean, is there anything? There's definitely not one thing that happened, because, like I said, I was always a glue guy. We talked about basketball a little bit. I was never the scorer. I was never the best player on the team. I was always just kind of that guy, role player. Get some rebounds. Don't turn the ball over. Don't make mistakes, and make the right play. And that's the base. Do the right stuff. Just. You don't have to do too much, but yeah, I've always kind of been that glue. Again, I don't even remember what the question was, but
What are you best known for?
yeah, glue and positive energy, I think. So
That's awesome. I usually,
man, I don't know what else would I be known for. Car salesman right now, probably.
Yeah. And that might be it too. If the majority of people know Gavin from he's my car guy,
Yeah,
maybe that's the answer. But attitude is a great answer.
I would rather it be my positivity than me as a car salesman.
100%.
Like, come on.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I hope everybody knows I sell cars.
Sure.
But
that's part of the gig.
That's definitely not what I want to be known. I want to be known as a guy who, I enjoy other people, and we talked about this just a hair before, and I kind of wanted to bring this up, but I love genuine people. Like, that's people I really vibe with. The people I hang out with are very themselves. They don't try to hide anything about themselves. I really get along with those people who just don't, care what other people think, but they're going to be themselves no matter what. And then sometimes, when I can see, like we talked about, you can see through that when people are trying to be something different, but if I get comfortable enough, I'll call you out for it. And if you want to be that, like, I know you are. I know you really are. But like, some people still try to be rock star all the time.
Try to deny it or whatever.
Right. And I think everybody should think they're a rock star, but you don't have to try to prove it to anybody but yourself. Like, you're the only person who needs to know you're a rock star. Nobody else needs to know that. Like, and if you want to tell them a little bit, so what? But like, don't try to go extra just to get approval from others.
That's beautiful.
So, just genuine people who are themselves, and you don't have to see through anything. You can see them. So, I love those people.
So, do you think that takes a good sense of like intuition, or do you think that most people have?
I think it takes a little bit for sure, but like, I think that's part of the reason why we got along well. Is like we opened up in no time, and you just had a good conversation.
Ashley remembers that.
Yeah.
She was there
at Katie and Nick's wedding. We hung out with this guy quite a bit. And probably at other weddings, I'm sure we met.
Might have been other weddings. And I don't even, it was not planned or anything. Like, we just kind of, what's up, Gavin?
Yeah,
how's it going?
Sure, we were hanging out. That was a beautiful venue. I don't know where.
It was awesome. That was a great wedding.
I don't want to shout out that. I don't know the name of the place, but that was a really cool place.
Yeah.
Awesome wedding. Good people.
People
man.
feeling good.
A lot of good people. Nick's a good guy.
Yeah.
Nick's one of those guys that you can, like, he doesn't try to put up any front at all. Just
he's a unique character.
Yeah.
But it's very Nick. Like, it's very him.
Yeah, and he's just himself. And that's the thing. Like, I said this to Ashley. She's every once in a while she'll ask if like am I weird? I'm like, yeah, of course you are. Everyone is. And if you're not, then you're not being yourself.
Or you're
gonna be strange to everybody because you're you. Like,
would you rather be weird or boring?
Exactly.
That's your options.
Dude.
That's kind of your
weird.
options.
Man, I was so close to putting to really setting this back. This is usually what this looks like. I didn't try to set any of this stuff up. I put the base there a little pretty because I didn't want it to just be hanging to the side because I don't have a stand for it. But I was really close to putting a skateboard back here. And the sticker on it says "Get Weird."
Nice.
And it says "No bad trips." So, there's just no reason to, be yourself and get weird.
Have you ever had a bad trip?
Yes.
So sometimes there's bad trips.
Sometimes it happens, but you just gotta move past it. Like, you gotta realize you can only control what you can control. I said this earlier. You probably didn't catch it on the mic, but you can't change anything that you don't have control over. So you just gotta kind of roll with that. Ride the wave. And then enjoy it. There's no reason not to.
Even if it's a miserable experience?
Man, some things suck. Man. And I'm a super optimistic person, so I hate thinking about anything negative. But man, it does happen. And again, if you just can like sit back and say like, this is out of my control, like, let's get back to what I can actually do. And through everything, there's always something you can take positive out of it, no matter what it was. Like, passing of somebody, like, you experienced them. You got to know that person, like, or like if you're, I don't know, he's like, sure where I'm going, but you just like, and challenges, like, you got to like embrace this. You got to move past, like, what can I take from this positive? Because there's no reason to think negative on any of that stuff. Like, everything happens to you for a reason. We talked about this. So figure out what that reason is and just move on.
You don't think there's a point of randomness that happens throughout life?
And maybe it does, but again, like, that's going to take you wherever it takes you,
So should you assign meaning to random things that happen? Random being a pretty big umbrella.
Maybe, but it depends what it is. Like, some things you just got to kind of ignore. But like, again, like, you can control what you can, and you can create whatever outcome you want almost, because like, it's all, mental. Like, so, no matter where you're at, you can enjoy yourself. Like, just look at where you're alive. Like, you have a chance. Most people have friends. They got people they know. You can enjoy yourself. Like, there's no reason to dwell on things that are negative, and try to take positive from things, even though, you know, they can give bad. And man, I hate life sometimes, man. And that's crazy because I don't want to feel like that, but it just happens.
Is that rooted out of anything in particular in your life? When these feelings of misery throughout, not throughout, but moments of misery.
Things, I would think, like trying to conform a little bit, you know.
It's being inauthentic.
Yes, exactly. Like you anytime you have to like do something, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do things you don't want to do, but like, you know, just trying to, you know, I guess, you know, we got life, we got bills, we got this stuff, we got to work, like.
No reason to hate life, though.
Yeah, for sure. And even in that stuff, you can enjoy yourself. Like, work sucks. We talked about this a little bit too. It's just that work, you know, it has its ups and downs. You know, you can love your job, but there's gonna be times when you do not want to do it. But dang, I don't even remember what I was saying.
So what do you do? Is that a bootstraps argument? Pull yourself up from your bootstraps and suck it up and go to work?
I guess, but. You know, I always try to find a positive in what I do for work, because everybody, you know, you work for a reason, like whether it be to sell someone cars, and really, like, I try to look at my job as like not so much to like, you know, sell the car, but to like help somebody buy a car. Like, this is what you want. I can help you find this. Let me make it make sense to you. Not so much like, oh, this person, like, I'm going to try to force this on them, you know, or like make them do this. Like, no, I'm not a very pushy person. So like I'm a decent salesperson. I'm not great. I mean, I think great salespeople are a little pushy. Like, I do
great meaning you sell a lot. Right?
Yeah, like you're just like the best, you know, like, you know, and there's always those guys that are top, and what's really cool is that one of the top guys I've ever seen there, he just got promoted. Clay Schaefer, really amazing person. I don't think he was pushy. He did know how to sell things, like, and kind of his verbiage, you know, the way it comes out can make it sound a little more enticing, you know, so, but he sold from his heart, you know, like he wanted to help people. And, you know, sometimes it sucks in sales, like, you know, somebody is probably making a poor decision, but they're in a position where they want to make a poor decision. So, like, am I going to help them? Like, it's my job too, you know, but it kind of sucks sometimes. Like, I enjoy, you know, most people when they buy a car, they're so happy and like,
excited.
You know, but there's some times where I'm just like, man, this is, you know, probably not the best decision for you. But I mean, like I said, it's my job. And if I told somebody to leave because it wasn't a good decision, I would probably lose my job. Like, so, you know, make sure you can afford your car.
So, how much of it is an opportunity for you to be a human and take the humanistic approach and say, I mean, I don't know what you'd say. That's a really hard example, but to say maybe this isn't the best option for you. Maybe you should.
And there's been times I've said things along those lines.
It's really tough with your job.
And again,
this is
like,
what they pay you for is to do this.
Yeah, it's my job, and I don't get paid if I don't sell you this car. So, like, my life is on the line here.
For feeling good about your decision.
If I think it's a bad decision, I think I will honestly, like, maybe not try to sell it as hard. Like, if you really are going to make this bad decision, I'm going to let it happen.
That's your call. Yeah. That's their call.
But, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, this is great. Like, you know, you need to sign up for this. Like, I'll just be like, hey, this is the options right here. Like, you know, just lay it out. And that's, you know, kind of what I do anyways. I never try to, like, swing anybody around too much.
That's good. The world needs more of those salesmen.
Yeah, no kidding. And salesmen get a bad name, man.
They do. So if you can bring a good light to sales, that's awesome.
And I think a lot of the best salespeople, you know, some people, probably the ones that are top, that are a little shady, you know, they're that way. But, like, most people can't do that. A lot of good salespeople are good people.
Like, go to sleep with a clear conscience?
Yes. I think a lot of salespeople are really good. And I've met some of my best friends in working at Fletcher, actually. So, but, man, I feel like just and we're going back to like where the question started, but you know, what's the dark times? Where do they come from? And I think it's just from having to be part of society and not just being able to be like yourself and be free, you know. I think that's what I hate the most, is not being able to be free all the time.
Did you see the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix?
Uh-uh.
You need to watch that. The side note, you need to watch that.
Okay.
It's right along what you said, because it's like, whatever, the 1980s Joker. It was like he falls into a vat of chemicals and then he comes out evil and gross and everything. This Joker, put him in society. Like, just watch him get shit on by people, and, you know, like, watch society have their way with this poor guy. And it's awesome how he evolves into a comic book villain from he's just living in society, just trying to make it, you know, and it's just one thing after another, getting pushed down. And a lot of people, it's like, I think that movie was such a success because so many people felt that way of like, I see the path that he took to get to, you know, where he is, where chaos is encouraged, you know. It's like, I don't have anything to lose. I don't give a shit if you got something to lose.
For sure.
I don't.
I mean, and a lot of good shows are like that. I feel like
they're like so on the nose.
They're all, yeah.
That's a great movie. Now,
like,
you guys got to watch
like,
that.
TV show Breaking Bad. Like, he's just like, man, he has to do this, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is what he has to do. He's supporting his family. Like, and I've watched, and this is a little bit Narcos, but like, you know, he's like, he's doing the right thing for Colombia. Like, he's like, you know, and it just all keeps going. You know, it keeps escalating maybe a little bit, but yeah, man, it's just no telling what's going to take you where, and you almost root for the guy because he's doing what seems like it's almost best for him.
That's the beauty. It's like it's like an anti-villain or something. It's like,
sure.
He's doing bad, but you resonate with him so hard.
A lot of those shows are like anti-villains. Like, honestly, it's like, man, like it's almost more interesting, you know.
Absolutely.
No one likes law abiders, right?
Well, nobody likes the villain with no cause. Oh, you just like to, you know, make people's lives miserable for just because that's your like character, that's how you were written, or is there a whole backstory to this ordeal?
Yeah, no, yeah, and you know, and a lot of, a lot of times when anybody seems like they're, you know, oh my gosh, come on, Ren. Just anybody like in their life, like if they seem like they're angry all the time, or just it seems like they went through this stuff and that's just kind of like what life made them, you know. It's not their fault, like that they are where they are, and like, you know, you never know what somebody's been through. So like, I don't know, I try to treat everybody, you know, pretty equally.
I think you have a really healthy scaffolding of, I don't even know what, but to where when life throws shit at you, it seems like you have a good avenue of like processing, of being able to almost categorize it and say, this is what happened and here's where I'm going to put it.
I would think so. And I get angry and I get emotional, but it usually, I don't think, lasts too long. Like, I try to like get to that stage where I'm just like, where I take a step back. All right, now what do I do? Like, you know, there's no reason to be upset, you know, control what you can control and just keep, you know, ride the wave.
Do you feel that you've had to integrate any darkness into your life?
Integrate? No, I don't. There's no reason to, I don't think.
Well, it should be a good thing. Instead of carrying it around like a briefcase, it's now a piece of you. And it's you can live with this now, because whether it be a traumatic event and man, good on you if there's not, you know. It's like, how fortunate if there's not.
No, dude, and this is part of that reason I was like, is this going to be a good podcast? Because like, I do not have a lot of things that I like that really hit me, that negatively hit me, that changed myself. And I think maybe when I was going through like college, I dropped out of college. I didn't really have a lot going. I started selling some weed. Just not a lot going on, you know, not playing video games and, you know, selling 2 grams of weed to my neighbor, you know.
Yeah,
like,
right.
It sucked. Like, and then, you know, some guy came in and took everything that I owned pretty much. And
Looking
you know,
for the weed, he just took it all.
yeah, I mean,
Oof.
I didn't have much anyway.
Right,
so like,
right.
But you know, that was probably the worst my life had ever been. And then I just kind of, you know, reset. You know, it's probably not too far from when I started picking up a longboard and, you know,
Wow.
hanging out with Ethan, and then not too long after that, I met Ashley. Like, it was just like kind of a reset. Is like, you know, because and this kind of goes back to that, like, sports. Like, you know, that's your whole life. I was so focused on, you know, playing sports, and, you know, I played college baseball for a semester, but like, I just don't know if I was quite good enough to play at the next level. I mean, I probably could have if I really would have put the time in, but like, I don't love baseball that much. Like, I like baseball, but like, I don't love baseball that much. So I just, you know, quit playing baseball, and then I didn't have like hardly anything going, you know. Like I said, I was playing video games and, you know, just hanging out and skipping class, essentially. That's all I was doing. And, you know, doing like some nasty stuff, like mistreating women for sure was a big thing.
Girlfriends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And others probably. But then I just like completely to hit a reset, like, you know, started working at Sam's, moved back in that house that I was talking about. Just, you know, started over pretty much, like, let's figure out what I can do, you know, and then, like I said, I met Ashley, and I love to longboard around, and I met some really good people in the last few years, and it kind of sucked because a lot of those people I hung out with too in high school and stuff, like, you know, they're almost like a part of a different life, you know. And that was my life, like, before I had to deal with society, I guess, pretty much.
Before the reset.
Yeah, before the reset. But, you know, only person really that I can, you know, truly, we talked about Dalton, you know, he's the only person I can, like, see and, you know, still, like, it's almost awkward when I see other guys, like, and I love seeing him, I love talking to him, but, like, it's just not the same as it was, you know, because that's, like, you know, kind of all we had was sports, you know. Like, I like these guys, really cool guys, great guys, but, you know, I don't know if we would have been friends if I was in band or something.
Yeah.
Like, I would not have hung out with those guys, you know, so.
That's a great thought. Like, what is that link, actually?
Right.
If it's sports, that's a good avenue to, like, start, but then is it gonna continue?
Can you connect, like, you know, and those guys that couldn't really, like, there wasn't a lot in common after that, you know, and I see these guys and I can chit chat about, you know, all the glory days, which, I mean, it's kind of hard. Like, let's be real.
It's
like,
fun.
They're freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And I really loved high school. Like, I was involved in everything. I did, you know, FFA. I did all the sports. I did track one year. I did Spanish, math club, student council, you know, the vice president.
Hell yeah.
Of the senior class.
Bow down.
So, you know, it's my job. 10 years coming up next year. I got to figure something out. Like, it's partially my job. Like,
nice.
But, you know, prom king, like, you know, and not a super athlete, so I couldn't really claim that. But, like, you know, I played all the sports and, you know, was a contributor in all the sports, you know, and I was never the superstar of anything, but.
Ashley, did you know you're sitting with royalty right here?
Yeah, Riverton High School royalty, especially for
2 prom
4 years.
kings.
Dude.
2 prom kings in your midst.
You were prom king too? No way, bro. I could see that, dude. You're definitely a prom king type.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
I know. I think what really comes with that is people like you. Like, and you can't win prom king if you're freaking a-hole to everybody.
Or if you're the best athlete, like they don't care about that.
They don't want that. They want somebody, and that's part of the reason I think, really the main reason I won Prom King is because I could go talk to anybody I graduated
100%.
with and have a good conversation with them. Like, it wasn't just like I only hung out with this clique and I wasn't cliquey, you know. I was very inclusive of everybody and tried to talk to everybody, and I think that's what caused Prom King. It's almost like a popularity contest, but
in a way,
yeah. So I think, you know, I took a lot of pride in that, honestly. It's
but
like
I think
everyone wanted to vote for me as the guy.
I think we're kindred souls in that matter of like, I don't care who you are, like I'll give you the time of day,
Right.
you know, unless you start like pulling from me or something, pulling energy from me, you know, then I might have to sever that. But it's like, I'm going to give anybody, I don't give a shit if they're
right. Exactly, dude. It doesn't matter. And it's almost interesting to like talk to those people. It's like they have a different perspective on
they
things.
have such a different perspective.
And then when you're like, oh, I can see where you're coming from on this. Like, you know, like I understand why you do what you do. Like,
I like breaking society or like expectations. Like people see me and they size me up and they kind of like put me in a category.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I just go ultra feminine on them or something and just throw them off and see what happens.
That's so funny because a lot of and guys I've met recently, friends of mine, like some dudes I sold air purifiers over the road, like knocking doors.
Whoa.
Is where I started in sales. But I met this guy, his name's Andy. And he, really genuine guy. I mean, probably not a guy that I have anything in common with other than I can, you know, we can talk about real stuff. But he was just like, man, I thought you were this airhead surfer, like brain dead dude.
Oh my God.
And same thing with the guys I work with now is like, man, like you really seem like you're some dumb, just like surfer guy. Like, and I take pride in that. Like, awesome. Like, I really, that's the kind of the vibe I go for.
Hang
is
loose,
like the surfer
bro.
guy, for sure. I almost wore a hang loose shirt, like a Hawaiian shirt. But yeah, I just like to ride the wave. You know, man, I gotta pee again.
Go for it. Push that over. You don't have to. But I don't know you at all.
I'm not doing anything.
We've shook hands and had a few conversations. I think we've met probably 3 times.
Yeah, and
then like 2 years goes by and then we see each other again. And
yeah,
I know Gavin, so then I just connect you two together, so it's a lot easier. But you don't know me, so
I'm a gray area.
You're a gray area. What does that mean?
I'm just joking. Gavin and I have very different like childhoods and just. I did not like high school.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't really do anything in high school either. Plus, we had just moved.
She had a way different experience.
Yeah, childhood and all. Like for high school, I feel like I was kind of shy, and we had moved from Carthage to Carl Junction.
Okay.
My freshman year, and I feel like I had a hard time hanging out with people, and the only sport I ever played was soccer.
Hell yeah.
But that was when I was like 13 or 14 years old. And then when I got into high school, I think I was too shy to try out for anything.
Aww.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I love my parents, but they were not very involved. Like, they were there, but they were not very involved with, like, me and in high school or in school in general. Plus, my mom, she was sick a lot of the time. She is epileptic, so she had seizures while I was growing up. And I took a lot of my time in my childhood to take care of her.
Took on a caretaker role.
Yes. Like in high school, I was struggling with school so much because of it.
Oh.
And so they moved me to an alternative school in Carl. And there I had more one-on-one time with the teachers, and I excelled there instead of in the actual high school there. Yeah.
That's really tough being young and taking care of a parent.
Yes.
The roles reverse.
Yeah, it really was. And I kind of, like, I'm still figuring out, we'll be 27 next month, and I'm still figuring out how to deal with my emotions and stuff because I was never really taught how to emotionally regulate myself. And since we are wanting to have children, that's something that I have been wanting to focus on because I don't want my child to have to deal with the things that I dealt with as a child, mentally and emotionally.
Your public persona, you would never know, because I think you approached me, you shook your hand, pulled out your hand and said, I'm Ashley. Like, you were very upfront, and people don't do that very, usually it's like, I just want to stick to the shadows.
I feel like for me, it makes me feel rude, and I don't like to be rude. It makes me feel rude if I don't introduce myself. Sometimes I am like that, though. Like, if I'm not comfortable in a situation or where I'm at, like, really not comfortable, I'll just kind of, like, stay back. If someone talks to me, I just blossom.
I think that's more natural to stay back.
No, it's natural. She says she tries to do that. She's a really, like, cool person. And we talked about this a little bit. It's like, some of those people, the villains, people that, like, you're like, that are angry all the time or mad or you just don't like to deal with, like, they've been through a lot. Ashley's been through a lot and somehow came out this awesome, super amazing person. Like, it is truly immaculate seeing how, like, someone can go through everything that she's went through and be the person she is. It's incredible.
That's your husband talking about you. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it makes me feel really good because I've got some crazy experiences and family and old friends, and
he was just talking about his abuse of women, and now he just gave you the highest praise possible.
I was the one.
Maybe you were. Was she the one that turned it all around?
Maybe. I just kind of showed up and never left.
So after this reset of mine, and this is not unlike me at all, I didn't have a partner for like almost a year. And there's always been like somebody I would like, kind of have somewhat of a relationship with. I never went like an extended period of time without like a relationship, because I like people, but I just like completely was just like, and I wasn't looking for a relationship at all. It's funny, we met on Tinder, like, but
gives y'all hope out there.
That's why you were on Tinder, not looking for a relationship.
Yeah. Well,
usually
the thing was, it's crazy. I wasn't on Tinder looking for like, she could tell you, the first day we hung out, like, it was like, hey, come chill with us. Like, just, you don't have to, we didn't do anything. We just went to my house and hung out, probably played Fortnite. I don't know what we did.
I probably did not play Fortnite because I didn't.
No, yeah. Well,
I just watched you.
She's like, check this out. This game's awesome.
Yeah. And I was.
She just hung out. She's like turned into like one of the boys almost, like immediately. And then she didn't leave, so I didn't have a choice but to put a ring on it.
Stuck with her. No options when she's
I did not give
out.
him an option, no. I'm just joking.
No.
You did have an option.
It wouldn't have mattered. You were the option.
It was the only option. Love you.
This is healthy.
This is healthy.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is good.
We have a pretty good relationship. We've been together for almost 6 years now.
No, yeah. And, man, great person.
You're a great person.
We obviously fights happen. It's a relationship. But, like, man, we get along. We get along really, really well. So, yeah, it's been great.
That
We've been
helps.
married a year and almost a month now.
A year and a month?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, 2 months.
Almost 2 months.
Yeah.
We got married in January. Last January.
January 23.
Yep.
In Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yeah,
Hawaii.
You sure you see, it's tropical for sure on the picture, but
It
great.
was the time of my life.
That's a good picture.
Best trip.
oh man, how cool.
They did so well. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was great.
I'm not good at decorating.
It's really cool.
So there's not very many pictures. These
And-
literally came from our friend. Our friend decorated our house while we were
Here's
gone.
some
I don't know if you
decorations.
had like something you're trying to follow over there, but we're just gonna go off on everything over here. But yeah, we went to Hawaii to get married, so we didn't have to have a wedding. Is essentially why we did it.
It was so great too.
Yeah.
How much the weddings kind of suck for the people actually getting married. You gotta get this venue for everybody. You gotta make sure there's food. You gotta make sure you do everything right. You got to have somebody for this, somebody for that.
Rehearsal.
You got to have all this stuff. It's like,
Dresses.
wait, isn't this our party? Like, why are we throwing a party for somebody else?
Well, all that, and then when the day comes, you're supposed to like relax, and it's your day.
You
It's
can't
like,
relax.
Good luck.
Yeah, there's
no
relax.
chance.
You're just hoping everything's going
No.
well,
Yeah.
and,
And I
you feel
was
like it's on
having-
you.
I was having like issues with some of my
It's
family.
inviting. It was
So-
even hard.
Yeah.
Like,
That
we got to
was-
that stage. Like, where are we going to do this? Who are we going to invite? What's the capacity? Like, there was already this bunch of stress that was involved. And we were kind of just dragging our feet. Then all of a sudden, like Chandler
almost
asked
2
us,
years.
did Chandler asked us to go to Hawaii?
Chandler asked us to go to Hawaii, one of his coworkers. So we planned on going, but they worked together and they couldn't get the same time off. So they went the week before and we went the week after, but we had like 6 hours in between.
Yeah.
They were about to leave and we had just arrived. So we spent their last like 5 to
Oh
6
my
hours before they
God.
flew.
He owns a house.
Yeah,
Chandler.
this is his house.
Chandler's a G.
We rent from him.
He's the one who needs to come fix this damn door.
Yes. Fix your door. No. Just kidding.
Come fix it.
He
Just
fixed
kidding,
the door
just
from
kidding.
day one, and
The
it
wind.
just breaks. We
Yeah.
just try to take good care of it.
We try. But it was,
Yeah.
did not regret it.
And then it's funny, it's his trip. He invited us. So I was like, hey, do you mind
I
if we
felt
get married while we're there?
Because you're not going to be there for it.
Yeah. Well, it was,
They
this
were
is when
gonna
we
be
thought
there.
we thought we were going to be there at the same time. And I'm like, hey, I'm not sure if you mind. I know you invited us to this trip. Like, can we get married while we're there? And he's like, yeah, dude, I actually expected you guys to do that. Like,
So you were already engaged at this point?
yeah, we were engaged. We were engaged for a while, but had nothing planned.
2 years.
And was it 2 years?
And he saw it
Year
coming?
and a half, I think.
He figured you guys
Yeah,
were
he's
going to
like,
get
I
married.
honestly, like, almost wanted to, like, recommend that you do that.
Now might be a good chance.
Yeah.
So no friends or family?
Nobody. Because
Nobody.
they weren't there.
Don't have anyone.
We were expecting there to be, like, 2 or 3 people there.
Well, not
Maybe
even
4.
parents or...
Nobody. And it was great. Which I'm sure they would have loved to be there. And
Yeah.
they would have been invited if they could make it. But,
Sure.
Hawaii's not cheap.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you
Especially
can
the
just, like,
island that we
not like
were
you
on.
just pack up and go to Hawaii. Like, that's not something everybody can do.
That's a
So-
big ask.
It was pricey.
Plus, I think that was part of it, was just like, we're not going to have anybody there. Because, like, if we started inviting people, then we got, like, there's a lot of people who would be really upset probably if we didn't invite them to, like, something that exclusive.
That was another thing. I had like people I hadn't talked to in years, and they were like, "If we don't get invited to the wedding," and I'm like,
We know a lot of people.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you got to worry about who falls through the cracks on just slipped your mind
Yeah.
or...
Well, and that,
Yeah.
like I said, that was really stressful. It's like, she's like, think about who you want to invite. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
not only that, but like bride.
dude, I could invite 500 people.
I was going to say,
like,
just start scrolling Facebook or
yes,
whatever.
dude. I
Who
seriously,
are we
like, so many
thinking?
people I could invite. Like, but yeah, having it, and then, we spent a lot of money on that trip, but I don't think maybe as much as you'd spend on a wedding, but we also did everything. We surfed, we went snorkeling,
scuba diving, yes. No.
we obviously had the wedding, that cost a little bit. We did multiple sets of pictures, we went sailing.
Yeah.
So did you have wedding first and then enjoy your trip?
It was
or-
kind of like
It was
a
like
few days in.
Like we got there Saturday, we had engagement photos the next day, and then
Engagement.
Monday we got
Babe.
married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty much like just we're in Hawaii, we're about to get married
Yes.
photos.
At the beginning, we kind of had our wedding, and
Uh-huh.
then the rest of like the 4 days we
It's incredible.
hung out. We
Have you ever been to Hawaii?
I've never been.
I recommend it. I recommend.
I don't know what any of the other islands are like. We went to Maui,
Okay.
and
Is that the big one? That's not the big one.
Maui's the one that had a really bad fire.
Maui's the one that had the fire?
Yeah.
Oh,
We-
jeez.
Where the place that burned down
Lahaina.
was where we spent
most of our
75% of our trip.
Whoa.
In that town. The whole entire town was just destroyed too, like gone.
Wow.
Which is crazy because we were there like less than a year, like prior. We were there, and it was just like, dude, I was walking through these streets, like, and it was an old
the
town. It was like
we met like
it was hundreds of years old.
They're
Everything was
locals.
like,
yes,
Yeah.
oh man, there's some good people there.
so
Yeah.
many good
A
people,
lot of people, like,
very friendly.
I would say
person.
similar to me, is just like free. They don't give a crap. Like, they just like, they may not even have a car. They just like,
stranger. you're family.
That's awesome.
It's like the feeling when you talk to people there, you're like immediately family. Everyone smiles at you. They're so happy. They immediately take you in, like, and then you come back here.
Did you get laid off the plane?
No, we didn't.
No.
Flower necklace?
No.
No, we didn't.
We were kind of upset about that.
Yeah.
I thought that was like the point.
Yeah.
But
not.
when we got to our place, Chandler and his wife,
They laid.
they
Nice.
Yeah.
Got
He
laid.
came up and laid me, and Chandler laid
So you did get the experience
Yeah,
at
we
least.
did.
Yeah, no,
That's good.
yeah, and
They gave.
they're awesome.
They're so
Great
beautiful. Love them. That's who we got our dog
dog.
from. Kylo, our chocolate lab
Nice.
So he owns a house, sold us our dog.
dog.
We're going on to Colorado with him this year.
Enjoy.
We were gonna go to Hawaii with him. Like, good friend.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Dude, for sure.
Very cool.
And I used to work with him. I met him in the car business, actually.
Yeah. Ashley, I just need to get you on, I guess, on your own podcast. We're at an hour and a half right now.
I know.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like, we almost need to do like 2 or something.
Yeah. We can always do a round 2, but let's start bringing it in.
Okay.
I just wanted to touch one more time on this reset of yours and how
Oh, wow.
it's like to me, you're saying everything happens for a reason. It's like it's almost like God hit the eject button on you.
Man.
It's just like, I'm not going to allow this to happen, so I'm going to rob him. You get robbed.
Yeah, right.
And then all of a sudden it's like a whole realm shift for you.
Well, it's like, and me being an optimistic person and happy all the time was almost like bad for me, and I think it is even to this day. Like, sometimes I'll just be like, man, I can enjoy this, even if it sucks. Like, sometimes that probably hurts my motivation.
You don't think that's a gift?
No, I think it is, but like, man, you have to fit into society here. Like, you can't just be. I mean, yeah, I guess you don't have to, but like, hit me with that, bro.
I mean, I got a good counter argument.
I think you can be free like that, but the thing is, like, man, now you're making me feel bad for actually giving in and conforming.
Don't feel bad on my accord. This is your life. I'm not
yeah,
living
you're
your
right,
life.
but like, man, I would badly want to just be like self-sustained. Oh, that would just be the greatest thing, man. Just enjoy myself, not have to worry about doing anything.
I mean, is that a future goal? Or do you have goals lined up to get you there?
I definitely need to sit down and make some goals for myself a little more. Like I said, being super optimistic is sometimes a curse sometimes, because like a lot of times you're just like, just sit back and enjoy yourself. You don't have to stress about anything that happens, because like, again, everything's, almost, I said I can only control what I can control, but like sometimes, I'm too out of control, like, just like too free and too in the moment, I guess.
I think the trouble arises when you have goals, and goals take sacrifice and discipline. And if you're too free and you're not sacrificing or disciplining yourself, like, I'm trying to lose weight. Do you think I want to go to the gym every day? No. Some days, hell yeah, I'm like gung-ho. Some days I drag myself there. I don't want to. The free me would be like, do whatever you want. That's not getting me where I need, where I'm trying to be,
for sure. No, yeah, and that's the same for me. I kind of let myself go a little bit physically. Yeah. I've been working out a bunch lately, but
it's a tightrope. It's a balance.
But man,
you can't
right
go
now,
all in.
It's been more, I'm not all in. I was all in there for like probably 6 months to a year. Lost a bunch of weight, was getting in really good shape, but then just like, I don't know.
But when you go all in, you have to keep some sense of freedom to yourself. You still got to have the chocolate pie and live.
There's a sacrifice for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, chocolate pie is great as it is, and I will, indulge in chocolate pie whenever it's there. But like, man, there is nothing good that comes from that other than just the instant gratification.
A little mouth pleasure.
Yeah.
That's about all you get.
Yep.
But it is pretty awesome.
It is, man. My gosh.
Well, Gavin, I don't want you to ever sell yourself short. I think some of your answers, they've all been great. I felt like, you're like, what makes me a good guest or something? And I don't want you to diminish some of the things that you said on this podcast that people are going to hear. And I think that they will be blessed for it from hearing it. I know I am, and I'm not just saying that truly.
I'd appreciate that, man.
You know, it's awesome that we grew up in the same little town. And,
yeah, man, Riverton.
You know, too bad we weren't closer back in the day, but it is.
It's funny. I think we were at Downstream or something, and we were talking, my dad and me and you, I think, I don't know, Jason Rowland maybe, at one of his parties at Downstream. And he even said, and we had a short conversation, but he's like, you know, eventually you're going to be the same age. Like, it may be like an age gap now, and it's kind of weird, but like eventually you're going to be the same age. Like, because once everybody gets to a certain age, there's no age gap anymore.
Right.
Like, everybody's the same age, you know, so.
I mean, I look at you, you're a grown-ass dude. You probably look at me, a grown-ass dude.
Yeah,
and
there's nothing different. You know, there's no year, who cares about the years between us?
Right.
You know? But, you know, when somebody's, and which is, it's interesting. I'm going to jump right back to this. We were talking about the bass a little bit, but my friend, he's 15 years old. Coolest freaking dude, man. Like, most 15-year-olds are just, you know, they're so, you know, lost. And,
yeah.
Man, he just seems like he's such a cool person. Like, he's a good guy, and you can talk to him. Most of them, like, most kids, like, you know, they're just kind of like all over the place, and like, but he's just like really chill and homeschooled. I think that's a big thing, honestly.
I think that's seems to be like hit or miss. Either you're socially awkward and you can't talk to anybody, or you kind of you don't have that public schooling that we all had to deal with. And
his family's been really involved in church, and I think that probably helps a lot. It's just getting around other people, and they're really involved with other homeschool kids and stuff like that.
Think of how much you're talking about sports, though, and
you
know,
that would be. And Ashley wants to homeschool the child. Man, I loved. We were talking about that a little bit too, but I loved high school, man, and it's so. I don't want to take that away from anybody, but maybe it's better for them in the long run if they don't go through that. Because, like I said, I had to reset. Like, if I would have been more focused on, like, real life and what's really important maybe earlier, I didn't have to go through that.
Also confuses me how they think a child can sit there.
Get over here.
It also confuses me how they think a child can sit there for 8 hours and just focus on one way.
A whiteboard.
Like, yeah, a whiteboard, basically.
I'm
They don't really learn any social skills in school. People say they do.
I'm with you there, but also as adults, what do you do? And it's the same thing. I don't think adults should be sitting there looking at nothing anyways. Go out and freaking, you know, like we were talking about, be self-sustained. Like, do things that are actually, like, important and can, you know, help everybody survive without, you know, having to be so stuck in society. I don't know. Maybe I'm living in fantasy land. But
no, I think there's an awakening that began with COVID and is like continuing to be a fruition of, it's like COVID wrecked society so hard that people realize there's other ways.
Society sucks.
There's other ways that we can go about this. I don't even have to go to the office because I can do everything from home. So then all of a sudden these, like, you know, it's like COVID's going. Now we're going to have some jobs, you know, remote jobs. And then, okay, COVID's lifted. Come on back to work. Everybody's like, no, hell no.
Yeah,
like,
when I was doing the same thing.
I can get more done at home. I can do it in my PJs, and, you know, it's the same. So I think personally that it was such a devastating blow to society, to the norms of society in particular, that people are realizing.
Yeah, and I could go for hours about conspiracies and how, you know, elites want to control people, but, like, that could be for a completely different time.
That can be for like your next appearance on.
Yeah.
I'd love to keep going, but
yeah, man. So would I. Honestly, I understand it's
easy. It's easy just to keep rolling.
I could do this for hours and hours probably.
No, well, I feel like I know you a lot better, and
yeah,
I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, there's a reason. I think we hung out at that party.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's funny. I really thought that was probably the reason. You know, really, because, like, what else could it have been?
That's so hilarious. Like, that's synchronicity. If you had, like,
what else could it have been? Because we did connect really well at that gathering, and you know,
it's funny because it's one of those things I see you walking away from or whatever. You know, our conversation has ended, and you walk away. It's just like, he probably has no second thought of this whatsoever. Yeah. And I'm you know,
oh, man,
I'm a side person, so I'm just like,
stuff that night,
we must have, like, I don't remember anything in particular,
Oh man.
Do you remember anything in particular
You
that
were
we talked about?
thinking about taking some retreat
Okay.
for
Ayahuasca?
doing ayahuasca retreat.
Yep, that happened.
I was blown away at the thought of that.
I think that had already happened. I think I was
really?
back from that.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
were.
So I was probably talking to you a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh, dude. And, you know, I've done psychedelics. And what you said was like, approach the darkness. And then I've kind of lived my life the other way. We really went over that the whole time. It's like, I just want to go I enjoy the happiness. I enjoy the friendship. I enjoy the love. Like, man, maybe sometimes you got to go to the darkness to really, you know, improve yourself. And I love a challenge, but maybe I just don't challenge myself quite enough, you know, with myself. Maybe it's just like, you know, hobbies that I challenge myself in.
I think I'd leave that.
Challenge myself a little more.
I'd leave that like personally to you. You know, I wouldn't suggest that you dive deep into a mushroom trip looking for all the bad or anything like
Right.
that.
No. But I mean, that's, you know, not just like, you know, going to a trip or something like that, but just like, you know, maybe there's some truth in like trying to figure out and, you know, avoid it maybe in the long run. It's probably the goal, right? To go to the darkness and figure out why it's dark, you know?
That's the integration. You
So
take it and you
maybe
make
I
it.
need to do that a little more.
You make it a piece of yourself.
Yeah.
But I don't think you need to go looking for it. I think it will make itself known to you.
Right.
So when something makes itself known to you and you're like, oh, I don't really like that. Invite it in, bring it in a little closer, investigate, see what it's there for.
Yeah, for sure.
Another
That's good
hour-long
stuff,
podcast.
dude. Yeah, no kidding, bro. I'm telling you, I can talk about so many different things.
You're a great guest, man. Do you have anything you want to say? Sometimes I'll end with like a message to the world if you had one.
Yeah.
Just any closing.
Well, you know, in the same place I started it, like really my livelihood sells cars right now. So like that's, you know, and as much as I don't want to be like a, you know, trying to push sales, but like, hey, if you're interested in a car, like I said, I will help you buy a car. I don't sell you a car, I help you buy a car. So like come buy a car, or at least like, you know, try me out when that time comes. Other than that, like, man, I do enjoy it all. You know, I'm gonna try to challenge myself a little more. But I enjoy life, and I think everybody should enjoy it, you know, so enjoy yourself, enjoy life, and, you know, be yourself. You know, I think it's really important to be yourself. So,
well, fight the good fight, brother. I think you bring light into any room that you walk into.
Appreciate it,
and
man.
I'm happy to know you.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Thank you, man.
Well, keep it up, man. You're doing great.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Catch you next time.
Peace.
That's it, brother.
Right now. I seriously, like... So, yeah, I pay attention to my handwriting. I don't know. I'm like kind of a perfectionist when it comes to handwriting.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's just something that it's always been a thing. It's like everything I write is like super, super clear.
Is that a perception thing? You don't want somebody to look at your handwriting and be like, who is this slob?
I don't think so. I think it just like, I don't know, always in my mind, it had to just be really clear. And when I'm writing things, it usually takes me longer than most people, but
because you go slow.
It's always super clear.
Takes you longer because you go slow with it, and just like be sure that you have.
It's just like that's part of like my perfectionist on the writing. It's like it has to be super clear, so I'll never like rush through it really.
Ready?
Yeah.